guys, it's Rachel here, and today I'm going to be filming for you guys my November wrap-up. And guys, I had a freaking awesome reading month in the month of November, and most of my reading happened the last 2 weeks of it. So as you guys know, I've had a really bad reading slump, haven't been doing any reading. I was super busy, all this wedding stuff, all these things going on, so I wasn't able to really read much. But this month I read quite a few things, and I'm very, very proud of myself, and so I'm just going to go ahead and dive on in. So the first thing that I read this month was Witches Volume 1 by Snyder, Jock Hollingsworth, and Robbins. So I read this one. I bought this specifically for the Halloween, for just kind of a more scary type read, and I've never read a specifically geared horror graphic novel. So I picked this one up on a lot of people's recommendations, and it was quite good. The artwork is really interesting. It's really neat. There's a lot of colors going on, but it's really fun to read, and this is quite a dark graphic novel. Essentially, this follows a main female character who got a little PTSD going on after she was bullied quite a bit when she was at school, and her bully ends up being kidnapped or being taken, and nobody knows what happened to her bully, and our main character thinks she had something to do with it. So they move to this new town, and in this new town things kind of start getting a little scary. I got really emotional while reading this. The ending was quite interesting, and I am looking forward to picking up the second volume whenever it does come out. The second thing I picked up this month is going to be Modesty by Matt Fraction and Christian Ward. Now I picked this up because a lot of people have been talking about it, and so I wanted to give it a go, and unfortunately I did not really like Odyssey. I ended up giving a 2 out of 5 stars, and the 2 was mostly because of the awesomely beautiful artwork in it. This is pretty much a retelling of the Odyssey except in space and gender swapped, so I was really interested to see how this was going to take its turn, but unfortunately I feel like the story writing, the writing itself did not really translate well into a graphic novel format because I was really, really confused. I liked the artwork, but unfortunately I didn't really like the story, and I will not be continuing with this graphic novel series. The third thing that I read this month is going to be Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling. Now I've been listening to this audiobook for about 2 months now, and I finally went ahead and just bit the bullet and finished it this month, and I quite enjoyed it. This is Mindy Kaling's newest memoir, newest biography, newest whatever you want to call it, nonfiction work, and this one is just more of a continuation on how she got her startup into television, and this also has a lot to do with her and dating. She talks a lot about her and BJ Novak, and I really enjoyed this. I did not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed her first book, but I still enjoyed it enough to where if she was going to write anything else, I would enjoy it. I would read it as well. I think I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. There was only one part of the book that I didn't really care for, and that was this alternate reality emailing back and forth that I didn't enjoy as much. If I probably would have enjoyed it more if I was reading it as opposed to listening to it, because I just didn't enjoy listening to all of the email, who the emails were, and I don't know, it was meh for me. I really enjoyed this book, and I really recommend it, and I always recommend to read anything by her or Amy Poehler or Tina Fey or something like that in its audiobook form because they narrate it. The fourth thing that I read this month is going to be November 9 by Colleen Hoover. This is her newest book, and I picked it up I think the day after it came out because I saw it. I wanted to get it on Amazon, but they were gonna make me wait, and so I was like, you know, fuck it, I'll just go ahead and go and pick it up at a bookstore, and so I did. Like I said, this is her newest book, and this pretty much follows 2 main characters, our female character named Fallon and our main male character named Ben. And when Fallon was 2 years in the story, when Fallon is 16, she suffers a horrible accident that leaves her disfigured, that leaves her burned, and she thinks she's unattractive, and she thinks that nobody wants to look at her, and she doesn't really care about, isn't really trying to stand out as far as looks goes, but she was an aspiring actress, Q-in Ben, who kind of comes in and pretends to be her boyfriend, and things just kind of take off from there. She decides that she's going to move to New York, and her mother has told her that she is not going to know what she truly wants in life until she is 23, so she tells Ben that she does not want anything serious until she's 23, so they have decided to meet every year on the same date, November 9th, to just see each other, and then on the 5th year they decide what they want to go through there. I enjoyed November 9. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it because of all of Colleen Hoover's works. I enjoy her writing style. It's like inhale reading. I read this so quickly. I love her writing style, but I had a lot of problems with this book, mostly, and I feel this way about a lot of Colleen Hoover's main male characters. I always feel like they're really pushy, especially when it comes to sex, and in this one I just felt like Ben was really pushy in certain aspects, and it kind of bugged me. I also thought that Fallon could be really melodramatic, and when you take into all accounts of the fact that in totality they only had, you know, known each other for really a total of 5 days, it kind of is like really hard sometimes. As with all of Colleen Hoover's books, there's a twist, and as with all Colleen Hoover's books, there is an artistic kind of take on this. This one is poetry. You know, like I said, I enjoyed it because I enjoyed the writing style. I enjoyed how quickly I was able to read this. Unfortunately, I had a lot of problems with it, and yep. The fifth thing that I read this month is going to be Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. Now again, I've been reading this one for a month, and this month I just went ahead and finished it. This is her second book. If you don't know who Jenny Lawson is, she is a blogger, or blogger under, and her Twitter handle is The Blog Guest, and she is fantastic. So this pretty much is her newest book, is talking about her and her mental illnesses, her depression, her anxiety, and then a slew of other medical issues that she has. But this is pretty much just talks to you about, you know, not being afraid to talk about your mental illness, not being feeling shamed for having depression, not feeling shamed for having anxiety, because you're not choosing to have that. It's like a chemical imbalance. There's something, you know, going on in your head that you're not choosing to be this way, and it's just the way you are, but not to silently suffer with it. I loved this book so much. I picked it up because of Max from Well Done Books, and this is absolutely going to be on my top books of the year. I loved this. I also really love this cover. It's fantastic. I love the inside, the way that she does the cats with the raccoons, with the, you know, the person that designed this did such a great job, and I absolutely love this. I will be listening to her first book on audiobook. I already have it, and I can't wait to read it. My next read is going to be Illuminae, The Illuminae Files #1 by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Just really quickly, I just want to mention that when I was on page, I think 499, and I updated my Goodreads and it went onto Twitter, Jay Kristoff actually liked my update for it, and that was pretty cool. So I loved this book. I know it's getting a lot of hype and everybody's talking about it and everybody says how great it is, and I didn't want to pick it up because I was afraid I wasn't going to enjoy it, because I didn't want to get sucked into the hype. But guys, this book is so cool. The whole thing is told in like files, so like you see all these like files and emails, and this whole thing is told in files, emails, and all kinds of different things like that, and it's so cool. This follows two main characters, if I can remember their names, Katie and Ezra, and it's Katie and Ezra, and they are both on this like mining planet, and this other big corporation, biotech, comes and attacks the planet that they're on, and the story pretty much takes off from there. This story is so cool, you guys. It's so cool. Like, I loved reading this. I like inhale read it. I mean, the first 200 pages or so were kind of info dumpy to me, but once you like really get into the meat of the story, like, you are 100% hooked. I flew through this and I cannot wait for the next book to come out. I will say that the only thing I did not like about this book is probably going to be like the whole love thing. I didn't really care about Ezra and Katie's like whole romance. It didn't really add anything to me. It really just felt like a kind of an angsty teenage love, and that's the only thing that really bugged me about this book. But otherwise, I really, really enjoyed this, and I totally recommend it if you want a quick, fast-paced, unique read. And finally, the last thing that I read this month is going to be The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. This is not her newest book, because this was originally published in the big book The Rogue by George R.R. Martin. This was written in 2014, but is now being published as its own individual work. It is a very tiny hardcover, really cute cover. I You know, it's only about 60 pages and I got it on Amazon, so it was $6. So I guess you could say it was worth it in terms of that because the book's only 10 bucks. But I don't know if I would really say it's worth it to have the actual copy itself because it's only 60 pages, so it's like a novella. This pretty much follows a main character and I really don't know what her name is. Really interesting. I'm not sure if her name is ever said, but this follows a main character who works in like a psychic palm reading place, and in the front they do palm readings and in the back they do kind of soft core prostitution rings. Guys are getting hand jobs in the back, and in the front they're doing palm readings. There's that. And our main character can no longer give hand jobs because she's developed carpal tunnel, so she is moved to the front, in which she is like faking being a palm reader when this woman named Susan comes in and starts seeing her and saying that her house, there's something going on in her house. So our main character goes to this house to cleanse it, and there she meets Susan's stepson named Miles, and Miles is not really all there, and then things kind of take off from there. I read this in one sitting. I read this in about an hour. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's my favorite thing I've ever read. Gillian Flynn's writing style is super addictive and it's really easy to get through, and you can see, you can see the typical Gillian Flynn in here. I wasn't like terrified reading it, and I know a lot of people said that they had to turn the lights on because they were freaked out. I don't think it was anything that like scared me per se. It was suspenseful and the ending is rather abrupt. I mean, you can take the ending however you want to take the ending. I kind of talked to Lindsay a little bit about it, and I think we both came to the same conclusion. Like, I asked her what she thought happened, and so I read it and I was like, I know that's pretty much what I think happened, but this still wasn't like my favorite thing I've ever read. I'm glad I own it because, it was fun, and I'm glad I've read it, but that's about it. So other than that, those are all the things that I read this month. I am really pleased with how I did. If you guys have read any of those things, go ahead and let me know down below. And other than that, guys, thanks so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.